everyone, and welcome back to the Pocket Nutritionist. My name is Katie, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about cravings. I'm going to be sharing with you why you get cravings and 7 tips for how to curb those cravings. Plus, I'll also share a little recipe right at the end that's going to help you bust those cravings when you really feel like a little snacky. If you are new to the channel, click the subscribe button because I share recipes and strategies to help you boost your immune system and to have more energy than you know what to do with. If you're dealing with cravings, you are definitely not alone. I have been through all the cravings. I have been a chronic craver my entire life. I have battled with emotional eating, I have had binge eating problems, I have had body dysmorphia, I've done bodybuilding, I've been a personal trainer for 14 years. I have lived and breathed this whole concept of craving. So first of all, I wanted to break down 4 common reasons why you might get cravings. I'm sure there are others, but these are the 4 that have affected me the most. And I just wanted to highlight why you might be getting cravings. So the first one is blood sugar dysregulation. Now this one is a big one, especially I noticed when I started detoxing my body and getting healthy, especially going to more plant food. I wasn't used to eating the quantity that I needed to eat in order to get the sufficient amount of energy out of that. And I know I've seen a lot of other raw vegans post about this. You really do need to eat quite a lot more volume because if you've been used to eating very small meals, your stomach probably doesn't expand as well as it should, and you may feel super full after just a small amount of food because your stomach is used to having smaller portions. When I first started my healing journey, my liver was very, very bad. It was in bad shape. And that meant that my liver wasn't storing glycogen very well, the cells weren't working properly, and I would basically eat some fruit and then an hour or so later, I would be hungry. And I thought it was because there wasn't enough protein in the meal. What it actually came down to was that was sort of true, but actually what it was just I was not eating enough of it. And at the time, because my digestive system was so compromised, I was only able to fit in a certain amount of fruit all at once. So it took some time for me to be able to build up to eating a larger quantity, but over the years it has improved dramatically. So that is one thing that I think really can derail you, is if you're not eating enough food. You've got to fuel your body, and if you're not putting in that energy, of course you're going to get hungry and then you're going to have a craving for something. So that's the first thing. The second reason you may be experiencing some cravings is to do with potentially some nutritional deficiencies. This isn't one that I personally feel like I've experienced too much myself, because I was lucky enough to sort of have a base understanding of nutrition when I was going through this. But sometimes you may find that you're very, very low on a particular mineral or a vitamin, and you just keep going to a similar food to top up on that. So it might be worthwhile just getting some bloods done, just getting a little bit of a panel on what nutrients you might be missing, just in case there is something that's amiss. This is a smaller reason, but it's definitely one to be looked at, especially if you've been unwell for a while. The third reason is detox and parasitic infections. So certainly when I've been going through different layers of my detox, I've had different parasites and different things eliminate from my system. I do find when you've given it a couple of days of very low fat and then they start to eliminate, you really, really crave those foods. And especially the fatty foods and the greasy foods. For me personally, I think, other people have had different experiences more with sugary foods, but mine has been more the fatty foods. So certainly this is a challenge. I've never been perfect with my detox either. I'll share it with you, I'll be open with it. I'm still human. I still have addictions now. I still get cravings for things that I know aren't good for me, but I sometimes indulge in them and then I move on and get on with it. But basically what I guess I'm saying here is that you may go through periods of time where you do have these little addictions. There are a lot of different strategies I'll share in a moment that you might be able to utilize. Some of these parasites really want to live and they really want to get in there and thrive on what you've been giving them. So if you've been living on a high processed, really fatty diet for a long time, they're going to want more of that. So just be prepared that you might be dealing with cravings if you're starting to go through a health process. It's pretty natural, but hopefully the strategies I'll share in a moment will help you with that. And the last reason, and probably the biggest reason for most people, is the emotional and stress side of things. Look, the world that we're living in at the moment is so challenging for so many people. We've got, it's a toxic planet now, by and large. We're dealing with a lot of chemicals, we're dealing with a lot of stress. Especially even in Australia, there's people that are struggling very badly financially, and it's no wonder that people turn to foods and other substances to sort of help them feel a little bit better. This can often be a huge barrier to people getting the results they need, and if they don't win over it straight away, they sort of give up. But I'm telling you now, I've had addictions that I've been trying to get over for 18 months at a time. And it's been the same food, and I've tried, day in, day out, and I've still eaten it. And it's taken me sometimes up to 18 months to really let go of that food. So don't feel disheartened on your journey if you can't quite get past that addiction. It can take time, and that's okay. I'm not here to judge anyone or, demonize foods if you have to have it. You've just got to be real with yourself. And as long as you are heading in the right direction and you're giving it the best go that you can and making changes where it's necessary and suitable, then I think that's great. So let's move on to the tips. Okay, so my very first tip is to get your blood sugar under control a little bit. Sometimes all this requires is if you're sitting there and you're really craving something and you haven't eaten something in a couple of hours, go and have a piece of fruit, or go and have a big glass of water first and then have your fruit. And then just see how you feel after that. Once you've got a little bit of energy in your body, you may find that you feel a little bit better and you have a little bit more emotional control over your choices. So I always do this. If I'm having a craving, I'll just get up, have my water, then I'll have like a banana, and then I'll usually feel a little bit better, and then I'll be able to make a better choice from there. Second tip is to be prepared. So if you know that you have a particular craving for this food and you know that you really want it all the time, think about ways that you could substitute with a different food and make sure that you've got that prepared in your cupboard or prepared earlier on. Also, if you're coming home from work and you know that you get cravings the second you walk in the door, just make sure that you have your meal prepared in advance or some fruit on hand, just so that when you do get in the door, you don't have as much of a reason to go and reach for that other thing. You've got all of your food ready to go, and you're prepared for however you might feel on any given day. Number 3 sort of ties back into what I was saying before about how long it can take to overcome certain addictions. My third tip is to be okay with not overcoming it straight away. Keep at it. Just don't give up. And keep working at it and working at it. And as you go along, you will get better with it. As long as you're fueling yourself well around these other meals that you're having, your body will naturally get healthier anyway, even if you have a little thing here and there. And of course, I say that with an asterisk, which is dose dependent and regularity. So of course we have to address that. But honestly, you just have to keep going and not get disheartened if you're not able to get yourself unaddicted to something you've been eating since you've been born, basically. I get it. There's a lot of emotions to work through. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of biochemistry to work through. So just keep at it and don't get disheartened if it doesn't automatically happen. Number 4, and this one's, I think, really key, is to focus more on how the food is making you feel. So for example, when I now go and eat something that is, a little bit processed, if I have some rice crackers or something, after I eat that meal, I focus on how it's made me feel. I focus on whether or not I have energy. How does my head feel? How does my neck and my shoulders feel? How does my body feel? Do I have energy? And I usually let that dictate how much I'll have that food. I know for a fact if I have a very, very fatty meal, I can get heart palpitations, I can get anxiety, I can get all sorts of things because I know that there's still a viral load in my system that is affecting that. So generally I avoid that because I know that it's not going to make me feel good, and I just prefer how I feel when I eat well. So when you change the focus a bit more to how your body feels when you eat these things, you may naturally find that you don't really want to indulge in those things anymore, just purely because of your energy and how it makes you feel. Number 5, this one was a game changer for me. I, many years ago, went and did a Vipassana meditation course, and I was so fortunate to be referred to this program. It's a free course that you can take, and they run off donation, which I think is wonderful. And you go in there for 10 days and they teach you how to meditate. And what that basically did for me was taught me how to observe my feelings, observe my thoughts, and be able to get a little bit of detachment from them. I'd had a lot of issues with mental health problems most of my life growing up. I remember feeling depressed from age 5, so I'm no stranger to how our emotions and our thinking can really affect our lives. And I think this was a big part of me being able to get myself healthy, was be able to detach a little bit from the pain or the cravings that I was having, or the good feelings, the bad feelings. It really teaches you how to be mentally balanced. So I would certainly recommend something like this for you if you're having a lot of difficulties making any changes in your life. And I think it's an investment that will just totally transform the rest of your life. So I certainly would recommend that course. My 6th tip is to practice and get stronger. So it sort of ties into the one earlier on from not getting disheartened. Of course, like anything, if you practice and you practice and practice, and you will get better at it. You will get better at overcoming the craving. This is all about the dopamine system in the brain and how all of that biochemistry works. Who really knows? But certainly we know that if you practice something that you don't want to do over and over and over again, eventually it becomes easier. So the only way that you can really flex that mental muscle is to be firm with yourself sometimes and go, no, I'm not doing that. And draw the line with yourself and be firm. And when you do that, you get the reward, you get the good feeling from the fact that you've made that decision. You probably feel better for it, you've eaten something better, and then you can feel really satisfied with the outcome. And my final recommendation is to have plenty of food substitutions for all of the favorite things that you like and that you get cravings for. If you check out my website, I have just started to compile a little list of different recipes. I'm only at the start of this, so of course there's only about 40 on there at the moment, but you can go ahead and check them out. Here's a couple for you to have a look at. I've been a foodie most of my life, and I used to love going out to restaurants and going out for fancy dinners, wine dinners and all of this. And it's just been something that has changed a little bit of my lifestyle over the past decade. But it doesn't mean I don't love good food and I don't love these things that I can indulge in sometimes. So I'm going about making a whole range of different foods that I know a lot of people enjoy in a healthy way that will keep you on track with your health journey. So feel free to go ahead and check them out. And today I'm going to share with you this very quick little recipe that is perfect for when you've got crispy, crunchy cravings. And I know I get these all the time. I love a crispy crunch, especially on the weekend when I'm watching a movie or something, and I just feel like that crispy, crunchy thing. It's really savory and delicious. So I'm going to share these little cucumber bites with you now and show you how to make them.
For this recipe, you will need 1 to 2 cucumbers, 2 shallots, 2 tablespoons of fresh dill, juice of half a lemon, 1 avocado, organic capers, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley, pinch of salt and cracked pepper. To prepare, place all ingredients except the cucumber and capers into the food processor. Gently pulse and blend until the mixture is combined but not completely smooth. Scrape down the sides as required. Season to taste.
Okay, I'll just have a little taste test of that. Just a little more salt. That's better. Now, I'm going to put the mixture, the avocado mixture, into a little glad bag here, and I'm going to use this as a little piping bag so that when we've got the cucumbers laid out, we can just go along and pipe over the top. Now that I've got the avocado mixture on the top and piped on, I'm going to add one little preserved caper to each one and finish with a little bit of cracked pepper. Now, this is such a delicious, easy, crispy, savory, soft, yummy, delicious little snacky that you can make up for yourself any time. All you need is to have your cucumber and your other ingredients on hand. It's a very simple recipe, but certainly this is a wonderful way to do a cracker and dip approach that's healthy for you, will leave you feeling so satisfied and hydrated as well. You'll be wanting to have one of these plates every weekend, I would say, just like me. So I hope that that's been helpful for you. I hope you enjoy making this recipe. Please feel free to check out the other recipes on the page and then also on the website. I would love you to come along on the journey. I'm not only going to be sharing recipes, but I am going to be branching out into some other content soon, just in relation to all things health, a little bit about research, and some other funny little comedy things that I'll put on my shorts. I hope you join me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.